Hello. It's been ages. However, I decided I was going to say hi today. I'm back in the shed. So it's been a long time. So I wanted to just pop on impulsively and just chat you through what's been going on. Because, 2025 just went. I did very few lives in 2025 at all. I can't remember. You might be able to tell it's freezing in the shed. It's currently 10 degrees. But if you've been following me recently on Instagram and Facebook, you will have seen the shed needed some serious attention. So that's partly why recently there have been no lives, because I just had fallen out of love with the sewing shed, because it'd become a bit of a dumping ground. And that's partly because sewing lessons moved down to the church pretty much from January of last year. So I've barely been in the shed for the last year. And I also did a lot less memory bears last year and a lot less sewing for myself. I think I made one thing for myself last year off the top of my head. So it's been a little bit of a crazy ride, but I'm going to give you a quick tour of the shed and just tell you where we're up to. So I'll tell you where we're up to first. So sewing lessons are now, I did my first Tuesday sewing lesson last week with some new fabulous sewing ladies. We had Karen, and Ruth and Alison. So Karen, and Ruth are doing the Sew Like a Pro introductory program, and I haven't done it for absolutely ages. So that has been very exciting to get back into the swing of that. And Alison just wants to get some guidance with what she's working on. So this Tuesday will be week 2. My other sewing group meet on a Thursday. They have been with me for a long time, and they were basically all the groups that I did in the shed. We merged together to become the Thursday morning group down in the church, and that has worked so well. Last year it's been such a fabulous thing to see, because it was a little bit of a risk, because people like their own little group, so I was worried about how it would knit together, but it's worked really well, and the atmosphere and the banter and the joy that we get on a Thursday is amazing. It's still my favourite day of the week. Really sorry to the Tuesday people for saying that, but it's been my favourite day of the week since I started doing sewing lessons, so that's like 7 or 8 years now, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. And I also do Saturday morning sewing lessons. Well, sewing sessions is probably a better word. So that is every other Saturday, but check the page for the proper details. But every other Saturday we have got the social Saturday, it's called now. Say hi. Anybody that's watching, say hi and put a comment in. I don't know if I can see the comments or not, but if you put a comment in, I'll be able to see, I think. Anyway, so yeah, so I do sewing on a Saturday morning as well, and it's social sewing mainly. Last year we focused on doing blocks. So last year we did last year we did blocks once a month, and then the other it was 2 groups, and then they merged into 1 group in the end. So we've just kind of gone with, if you want to come twice a month, come twice a month. So some people still want to do blocks, so I'm working on some new blocks as well for this group, so that's exciting. Crafternoon is still going really well. So Crafternoon is my not make it so part of the business, and I set that up, for those of you that don't know, I set that up about 7 or 8 years ago as well, and that's literally just basically a knit and natter. Church hall again. You pay £1 as a sort of recommended amount, and basically you knit and natter, put the world to rights, and that's still going really well, and we're still getting new members to that all the time, which is fantastic, because I mean on a Tuesday there's over 20 people that come regularly, so that's fantastic. So yeah, and then the Saturdays that I don't have my sewing lesson, we have the afternoon group meet in the church on a Saturday morning, which is a much more intimate affair. There's less people there, because other people have got things to do on a Saturday. So sometimes there's people that can only come on a Saturday that can't come on a Thursday. But anyway, so that's life at the minute. I'm also still doing the church job. So I work 15 hours a week for the Methodist Church. And I also have become a Tropic Ambassador in the 1st of July. So I'm literally just juggling all the plates, plus being like wife, mum, and Fiona. So there's a lot going on, but I'm going to give you a quick tour of the shed. And I will just sort of like to see how work has gone on the shed. So I'm really pleased with how it's gone. So let me just see if I can flip the camera around. So this was an absolute bomb site. If you want to see what it looked like before and after, go back and look at my Facebook and my Instagram pages. But this is like the door. This is the way in. So we've now got the little, this is like my kind of handcrafty corner. So this is the embroidery and cross stitch section. So all my cross stitchy things and hand sewing stuff projects are all in this little cupboard. This is my DMC chest, which I impulse bought last year and haven't actually used anything out of it yet, and haven't cross stitched anything since I bought it either. So that's just typical Fiona. The exercise bike is currently broken. I had to compromise and allow it in the shed to get it out the back of the living room. I don't use it. Let's move on from that. This is the dresser, which used to be in the kitchen. It just needs a bit of zhuzhing because I'm not liking what's on it at the minute, but it'll do for now. This is the surplus to requirements area, and I'm going to get some nice things to put on the plate rack above the sink, but I'm not sure. I'm not in it enough. When I had sewing lessons in here all the time, it was just full of everybody's mugs and everything, and we was making cups of tea 4 or 5 times a week. Whereas now, I'm really not in here that often to justify having that full of those kind of things. Can you say park the car in the Harvard Yard? Well, how's that for you? So that's where they used to go. So I need to find an alternative use for that. So if you can come up with something that I could put on there, let me know. I don't know whether it's a good place to put crafty things or not. You're welcome. So this is a dress that's been on the mannequin for about 3 or 4 years now. I actually inserted the sleeves back to front. And I really don't want to unpick them because it's like a really thin fabric, and when I unpick them, it's going to rip. So I'm just putting that off. Any more requests for anything else you want me to say? There's been a murder. That's always a good one. Or I could murder a burger. My Make It So buntings up there. And this is actually my, what do you call it? Design wall. So normally, or back when I was in here all the time, all my quilt blocks would go on this wall, and I would rearrange them on there, and then I would then sew them up from there. So I need to move the sofa, but it's actually doubling it up at the minute as a like projector wall. So we've got like a little projector thing, so we could actually watch stuff in here instead. So that's pretty cool. The 2 seats are actually from the van, so they need to go. Waiting for hubby to move the seats out of the van, and then potentially that's where my ironing board's going to go. And then we've got the cutting table. I've organised all my stuff underneath. Well, it's sort of organised. And I've now got my sewing machine back up, ready to go. I just need a new chair. So if anybody can give me any recommendations for a new chair, that would be fantastic, because I can't really demonstrate this. So it's going to be too tricky. But basically, the table is too high and the chair is too low. And other than cutting the legs off my table, I need a higher chair. So I've got a So Easy table, which is really good, but I kind of need this amount of space. So the Sew Easy table's a bit small. Great for taking to workshops and stuff, but not, or if I want to just do some sewing in the house, I'll move it up to the house. But for my big sewing stuff, I want to use this table. So therefore I need a new chair. So I think I need one of those chairs. It's kind of like a bar stool height. Unsure. But anyway, so that is the shed. So I'm hoping, let me just flip myself back round. I'm hoping some sewing is going to happen in the shed and you might get to actually follow along with that, which would be amazing. I have got my first memory beer order for 2026. So it's made out of a bridesmaid's dress. So this is going to become memory bear. Also got this like bridesmaid's robe thing, and the bride's veil. So that I'm actually making 2 memory bears out of those. So watch this space. That might happen this week if I can get myself organised. The heating definitely needs to go on before that happens because it's very tricky to sew when you look like the Michelin Man. So yeah, so I'm feeling all motivated and I'm feeling all ready to go and inspired to get my sewing creativity going. I actually did some knitting. I haven't done any sewing, knitting or anything for months. I've hurt my shoulder and it's basically stopped me doing quite a lot of things. And I think it might have got me down a bit more than I realised, but I'm hoping that I'm turning a corner. Things are happening. I'm making a change. And I actually picked up some knitting and got a bit of pleasure out of that. So I'll just show you quickly what I'm making. If you want polished videos, you've come to the wrong place, just saying. So I'm making a mitered corner blanket at the minute. How big it's going to be, I have no idea. But this is the current project, which I'm just picking up and putting back down as and when I feel like it. But it's been really nice to just get some stitches in. And it definitely does calm the brain and just settle me down. The shock was, though... I don't know if you can see that there. That's my blind, which is basically an Amazon box to try and block the light out because this doubles up as my spare room. So I had family over for Christmas and New Year and that was to basically stop the light when they were sleeping in here, and I've not taken it back down yet. So when I was tidying the shed, the shock was, hang on a minute, this is all wool and this box here. So I had more wool than I expected. This is a Daisy and Grace quilt that I'm making. And this is my fabric that was to be clothing, but I've gone off clothing. So I'm not sure what that's going to become. But this is an in-progress quilt. And then I realised that I have at least 8 other quilt kits that I have got most of the stuff for. I'm not going to pull them all out because it will never all go back in the cupboard. But this cupboard is the quilt kit cupboard. So, let's see. So we've got this one. That's Tilda. I think that's Lewis and Irene with a bit of Tilda. There's several in here. I've got some layer cakes here. That's Tilda's Christmas Precious Memories or something. This is a Liberty quilt, and I think there's more Liberty stuff in here. So, and then I think there's more Liberty stuff. Anyway, there's a lot of quilts going on. There's a lot of quilts going on, and I'm not doing any of them at the minute. So, I need to get my planner out and work out when I'm going to get some selfish sewing in the calendar. But I just wanted to say hi. Thanks for following my journey. If you have been following my journey, then thank you for following, and it's nice to be back. And if you have never visited Make It Sew's page before and you've just stumbled across it today, then hi. Welcome, and hopefully you'll see quite a lot more of me. I'm hoping that my shed, since it's not now being used for sewing lessons like it was, could become my new Tropic HQ, and my future Tropic parties will also be hosted in the shed. So it's a perfect venue for that as well, although the heating will definitely need to go on because, as I say, it is currently 10 degrees in here. So, bit chilly. So I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to say thanks for watching. And hopefully I'll see you next Saturday. I used to do Tea with Fee live at 5 on a Friday, very quickly before I go. However, a very dear friend of mine, she knows who she is, gave me some tough love this week and told me that I needed to actually fit some time into my schedule for myself, or I'm going to basically kill myself. She never said that I'm going to kill myself, but and I don't mean I'm going to commit suicide, but I'm literally going to end up like hitting a brick wall, or everything's going to catch up with me and I'm going to have some sort of crash. So she was right. And what I realised was Friday is literally the only day that I don't have any sewing, church, or any other commitments are on a Friday. So I have now officially made Friday my day off, which will be a day of just hopefully doing some lovely fill my cup things, meeting friends, and just trying to do things that bring me joy. So therefore, not that doing Tea with Fee live at 5 didn't bring me joy, but it is a stress to factor in and go, oh, I forgot I had to do that or whatever. So I think it's going to move to a Saturday. So most Saturday mornings I'm down at the church doing afternoon or sewing. So I will potentially then follow that up with back to the house, Tea with Fee. I didn't actually have a cup of tea with me today, so that's because I haven't unpacked the kettle. And there's no milk down here because I'm not in here often enough. But next time I will bring my travel flask with me and we'll have a proper cup of tea and we will just chat about who's doing what like I did before. So I'm hoping to give you a bit of an update on what all the sewers are doing, what I'm working on, and just life in general. So thanks for watching. I really do need to know when to sign off. So I'm just going to shut up now and hope you have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And I might see you next Saturday. So stay tuned. I will also share this on Facebook. So if you watched it live, thanks very much. If you got this far, thanks very much. And subscribe to my channel for more of this really random, unprofessional life as a sewing person, teacher, part-time church worker, and tropic ambassador. Sort of all the hats rolled into one. I'm going to have to I might need to make some tropic bunting, so to go with my Make It So bunting. So thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye.